having me. Good morning. It's great to be here in the reddest state in the country. We're a little behind y'all in Georgia, but wow, it's great to be here. Sooner red. I wish more states would have been like Oklahoma in 2008. My name is Donegan. I'm the founder and chairman of the Can-Do Conservatives of America, and I'm here to raise some cane. I'm proud to be here to speak a little bit on behalf of a good man who's running to be your next Attorney General. His name is Scott Pruitt. Just last Sunday, we celebrated the birth of a nation. 234 years ago, a document was written, adopted, and signed called the Declaration of Independence. And in that document, it said these words: "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, such as these of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Where are those patriots today? In March of this year, we lost a battle on healthcare reform on the national level. And that bill was signed on the, it was 230 plus years to the day that Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." These patriots would be rolling around in their graves today. But we can fight this. And we can fight it by electing great men like Scott Pruitt for Attorney General. I was born 27 years ago with bilateral cleft lip and palate, legally blind with no physical nose in my face, and other birth defects that I like to call blessings. I was tested for every disease and disorder known to mankind at the time, and despite those tests coming out negative, they said that I wouldn't live 6 weeks, and if I didn't live past that point, I'd be a vegetable. And ladies and gentlemen, what kind of vegetable am I? I haven't been able to figure it out yet. 2 months into my life, I developed pneumonia, and I had to go back in the hospital. And once I was there, my heart began to fail, and my skin started turning blue due to lack of oxygen. Just after Thanksgiving of 1982, I had to undergo emergency surgery, and thanks to the skill of my doctors, the love of my family, and the blessings of our Lord Jesus Christ, the surgery was successful, and I'm still here. But if this Obamacare bill that was rammed down our throats was law when I was born, do you think that the government would have deemed my life worth saving? I don't think they would. And that's as personal as it gets. And it's time that we have leaders. It's time that we have leaders elected in offices like Attorney General to stand the gap against things like socialized health care and illegal immigration and other attacks, especially on life. God has blessed me very much, and I thank Him for every day. But if I ever need a reminder of how precious life is, I don't have to look too far. Here on my right wrist is a scar from where the doctors had to emergency put in the IV because they couldn't find a vein. It is a living, breathing reminder of how blessed I am and how precious life is and why we should have a culture of life in this country. And Scott Pruitt is going to stand in the gap, because once he is elected as your Attorney General, one of the things he's going to do is he's going to establish a unit of federalism. And he's gonna fight for your 10th Amendment and states' rights. He's gonna fight against illegal immigration. He's gonna join the lawsuit on Obamacare. and other things that are necessary to fight for our freedom and liberty. I may be blind, but I know the choice is clear. Scott Pruitt is a patriot and a strong conservative, and he needs to be your Attorney General, and it's my honor and privilege to introduce him to you right now, my friend Scott Pruitt.
You know, one of the blessings of being on the campaign trail, I think every candidate here would say this, that we go out and campaign, we see folks and we meet them across the state, and it's an intangible benefit to meet people like Brian. To know that what we do in office matters. That it's not just about a position or a title, it's about what? Doing what's right when there's a lot at stake. In fact, I will say to you that I think the most important thing that any candidate today can answer for you is what is your motive. Because if someone seeks an office for the sake of a position or title or pay or all the benefits that go along with it, when they get that office, what happens? They try to do everything they can to keep it. And that means they will not risk and will not do what's right because it may affect them adversely. I want you to know, I've been out of politics for the last 4 years. I served in the Senate for 8 years, from 98 to 2006. I've been in the private sector, owned a business in Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City Redhawks. I'm an attorney in Tulsa, practicing for 17 years with a focus on constitutional law. And I will tell you, when I decided to get in this race for Attorney General, it was not for position, it was not for pay, it was not for a title. It was to do one thing: advance your freedom. Because your freedom is at stake like it's never been before in our generation since the inception of our country. And Brian mentioned this. We need a unit of federalism in the AG's office where we employ constitutional law attorneys that wake up each day and say, how do we advance life? How do we enforce the borders against the Washington, D.C.? How do we push back on health care? How do we make sure the EPA doesn't regulate carbon emission outside of congressional authority? You need a constitutional division of attorneys, and I have that background, and as your Attorney General, I will use the courts to hold the federal government accountable on your behalf. But beyond that, there are issues at the state level that we need to be cognizant of. The OEA, I think, is one of the greatest detriments to education in the state of Oklahoma. They are a union. They should be treated as a union. I was talking to somebody last night that's a national expert with the National Labor Relations Board. This individual told me that the Nurses Association of the states have been challenged as a union, which means that they would have to do reporting requirements nationally and show how they spend all of their money. As your Attorney General, I will seek to make the OEA accountable for how they spend money across the state, advancing their own agenda and not the agenda of education on behalf of our students. With respect to immigration, as your Attorney General, I will seek to hold the federal government accountable by enforcing the border through a lawsuit. But I think Arizona also, what they did is absolutely correct. They tried to protect themselves through the passage of laws that were consistent with federal law. I think we ought to do the same as a state. But I'll close with this real quickly. Governor Huckabee's endorsed me in this campaign. And Governor Huckabee, when he was governor of Arkansas, and Brian worked with him up in Iowa when Governor Huckabee won Iowa. But when he was in office in Israel, he was going through the Holocaust Museum. And Sarah, his daughter, went with him. And as they exited the museum, Sarah looked up to Governor Huckabee, her dad, and said, "Daddy, why didn't somebody do something?" As I look at you here today, and as you're here today, the reason you're here is you want to do something about our freedom. I want you to know, I want to join you. I ask for your support on July 27th. Let's go work to protect our rights. Let's push back against Washington, D.C., and let's make sure we send a message to the rest of the country that in Oklahoma, we stand for the Constitution. I ask for your support on July 27th. Thank you.